A major escalation between Pakistan and Afghanistan as both sides carry out cross-border strikes. Islamabad, it has officially declared it is in an open war with the Taliban, while Kabul has claimed it hit military sites deep into Pakistan. With clashes ongoing, here's what both the sides have said.
The Air Force, affiliated with the National Ministry of Defense, launched airstrikes today around 11 a.m., targeting a military camp near the city of Faizabad in Islamabad, Pakistan, as well as an army barracks in Nowshera and a military site in Jamrud, in addition to targets in Abbottabad. These air operations were carried out successfully, targeting important military sites, centers and facilities affiliated with the Pakistani army.
The Taliban has become a proxy for India. Today, when attempts are being made to target Pakistan with aggression, our forces are giving a decisive response at this time. In the past, Pakistan's role has been positive. It has hosted 5 million Afghans for 50 years. Even today, millions of Afghans are earning their livelihood on our soil. Our cup of patience has overflowed. Now it is open war between us and you. Now it will be Damadam Mast Kalandar. Pakistan's army did not come from across the seas. We are your neighbors. We know your ins and outs.
Well, we have not seen such a large-scale border clashes between Pakistan and Afghanistan. This is first time that the last night clashes, which started after the early dinner in Ramadan, and people were preparing for the night prayers in Ramadan, and all this started at 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock in the evening. And what we have learned from the state-run television and the Minister of Information tweets, which says that these Afghan Taliban forces started unprovoked aggression from across the border. So the Afghan forces attacked at least in 5 sectors, including Chitral, Mohammed, Khyber, Bajor, and Kuram agency. So these in these clashes, Pakistan says that just 3 of its soldiers were killed and 2 were injured. On the other side, Pakistan says that in retaliation, Pakistan Air Force jet fighters and then the quadcopters were used in these attacks in retaliation, and they have killed at least 133 Afghan Taliban, and they have also injured 200 Taliban. In further details, they say that at least 2 core headquarters of the Afghan Taliban in Nangarhar and Paktia and Kabul provinces, 2 brigade headquarters and 2 ammunition depots, and at least 80 tanks, APCs, and artillery guns were attacked and destroyed. Pakistan has also claimed that 27 Afghan posts were destroyed, completely destroyed, and 9 were captured. The situation is very serious between the 2 countries, and we have never seen in the past the clashes like that because it was a friendly border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. There are several tribes living across the border, and on this side of the border they meet each other every day and they have contacts. But now the situation is getting worse and is escalating. We don't know what happens next, but Pakistan blames that the Afghan Taliban are actually patronizing and funding the Pakistani version of Taliban called TTP, and these terrorists have hideouts inside Afghanistan. So Pakistan's government was consistently asking the Taliban government not to allow its soil for the terrorists to cross and come into Pakistan and involved in the terrorist activities. There was a ceasefire between the 2 countries in Doha, but the situation changed dramatically when there was a huge bomb blast in a mosque in Islamabad, and there was a foreign country head visiting that day Islamabad. So serious questions were raised about the Pakistan's security. There was a suicide bomber who blew himself in a mosque and 40 people were killed. 160 were seriously injured and many were in critical condition. So that day Pakistan decided and they announced that they will attack the Taliban hideouts in Afghanistan to protect its border and to protect its people. Two countries are blaming each other, and there is a lack of trust between the two because there are some serious allegations by Pakistan. Pakistan says that Kabul and New Delhi are joining hands, and Delhi is supporting. India is supporting the Afghan Taliban, while Taliban say that they have the right to establish diplomatic relations with the neighbors and any country in the world. So we hope that friendly countries, Turkey and UAE, will start mediation between Islamabad and Kabul in coming days.
Well, I'm now joined by Afghan political analyst Idris Mohammadi Zazai. Mr. Zazai, thank you very much for speaking with RT India. First of all, how will Kabul view Pakistan's open war comment?
This is not the first time that the Pakistan regime is announcing open war against Afghanistan. This is not the beginning. Since more than 17 years, Pakistan is doing civilian wars or open war against Afghanistan. But Afghanistan never announced open war against Pakistan because Afghanistan think that civilians should be not involved in a war. And Afghanistan is just fighting with those regime or those people who are against Afghanistan. And this is not that much serious for Afghanistan because Afghanistan people grew up in such a situation, first with Britannia or England, then with Russia, then with America. Afghanistan people are used to be with such conditions.
Mr. Zazai, there are casualties on either side. There are also reports of casualties on your side as well. Can you clarify the scale of losses and how concerned are you about this spiraling further?
Casualty number in Afghanistan is very low. This operation is started from 8 p.m. in Afghanistan till 12 o'clock at midnight. Casualty in Afghanistan are civilian. In midnight, around 11 o'clock, some drones from Pakistan or some aircraft from Pakistan targeted civilians near to Turkham, where refugees are right now there. 8 civilian children are killed. Pakistan targeted them. And other side, Afghanistan targeted more than 25 stations which were in the Farzi Karkha. We called it Farzi Karkha. That not border between Pakistan and Afghanistan because that's not still announced. Afghanistan attacked in 25 stations of Pakistan regime's stations. And especially in Nangarhar province, 33 killed, 18 injured, a Kunar, 40 killed, and 35 injured Pakistan regime soldiers. In Afghan side, there's no such a casualty numbers that we should worry about it. Yes, Pakistan aircraft last midnight did their operation in Afghanistan, but not casualty in stations that target civilian.
Mr. Zazai, Pakistan has claimed that India may be involved in supporting instability in your region. Your reaction?
Afghanistan don't need such a cooperator or a friend in such operations because Afghanistan Islamic Emirates also announced this Afghanistan freedom will not affect it in any conditions, even in a bad conditions. Yes, some of Pakistani made such a video in AI that India Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that we are with Afghanistan, or Netanyahu announced this that we are with Afghanistan. But later that's clear that that video was made by AI. Afghanistan is alone in this fight, and India doing their own operations in their own side when Jammu Kashmir or some other side are affected. But right now, Afghanistan is alone in doing this operation with their bases.
Mr. Zazai, a final word from you. There was an understanding aimed at reducing tensions earlier and also, of course, a ceasefire. Why do you think that has failed to hold?
Turkey and Oman were pushing for a lasting ceasefire between Pakistan and Afghanistan, but Pakistan's conditions were impossible to meet. Therefore, both Turkey and Qatar pulled back, and it was impossible for Afghan to meet Pakistan's conditions. It was as if Pak was not interested in the ceasefire at all. That's because Pakistan wanted to get fresh and bigger projects in this region, and so it wanted to lay the groundwork for those contracts. Pakistan broke the ceasefire, and hence they have to answer for it.
All right, Idris Mohammadi Zazai, thank you very much for speaking with RT India. And I'm also joined by war journalist Dr. Wael Awad for more on this. Dr. Awad, thank you very much for speaking with RT India. You know, Pakistan, it is calling this an open war. In strategic terms, how serious is that language, sir?
Well, I think it's very serious from a Pakistani point of view because the amount of the attack on the border have been escalating, and now the Afghani is using jet fighters against target inside Pakistan, and the casualties, as per the Afghani narrative, it is more than what the Pakistani are claiming. Having said that, I would say that the Pakistani are now going for an all-out war, but it's unlikely that they may go for an invasion, but continuous skirmish and attacking deep inside Afghanistan will be carried out by the Pakistani army.
Dr. Awad, is this escalation likely to sustain or not?
Well, it depends. You have to see it from different angle. If both the leaders on both sides are not willing to sit down across the table and bring the elderly and the seniors to listen and try to settle the issues at stake, then it can continue. The second part, which is also very important, that peace broker like Turkey, like Qatar, like UAE, and even Russia, they can play a role. Even China can play a major role in bringing the both sides together to the negotiating table.
So you're saying there is still room for mediation there? You mentioned China, you mentioned Qatar and other regional players. Or do you feel that are both sides too entrenched right now?
Look, what is the stake? What is the issues at stake here? First of all, it is the Taliban Tehrik-e-Pakistan, which is quite active at the border. Yeah. And the Afghani has been saying it for years that it has nothing to do with us, though they sympathize with them. But they said, if you are able to close the border between between Afghanistan and Pakistan, why these groups, armed groups, are doing attack inside Pakistan? That means they are already existing inside Pakistan, not in Afghanistan, as Pakistan claims. Pakistan said that you are giving them the shelter, that's why they're carrying that attack. So Tehrik-e-Taliban in Pakistan is active. The ISIS, Khorasan, is quite active. They wanted to gain a ground. So they're taking full advantage of this, confrontation between both sides so they can gain a ground. Pakistan is not happy with the Taliban in power, having close relation with India, and also they are also keeping close eye on the Taliban Tehrik-e-Pakistan. All these factors play a major role in the distrust that the Pakistan feeling the heat that it is attacking its own national security when Taliban come closer to India.
Dr. Awad, Islamabad, it is once again pointing to a possible Indian role. Now, is there any credible basis for that claim, or is it part of a familiar regional narrative, according to you?
Well, as far as we know, because when we're covering the war in Afghanistan, Sama, you know that we covered it extensively before and after the fall of Taliban. It was India supporting the North alliances, and India was the only country in the region which have really contributed a lot to the to the welfare of both the sides, which have spent more than $4 billion, India, on these issues. So now to say that the least that India have come closer to the Taliban, recognizing them and also pledging to support the humanitarian aid, it's also another indication that India is keen and more lenient toward the Taliban than before. And because of the rift with the Pakistani, because also India think that it is doing a humanitarian aid to Afghanistan, and it needs Afghanistan access into CIS country through Shah Bahar in Iran. So all these factors come together with the Indian interest in the region. However, it's not of Indian interest to have to support any group against Pakistani sovereignty, and like what they're saying in Balochistan and all this militant group.
True. Sir, earlier this year, Zabiullah Mujahid, he had alleged that certain Pakistani military circles, in coordination with major powers, he referred to major powers and linked it to the Bagram issue, saying that they are trying to destabilize Afghanistan. Now, the question is, the Taliban, it had earlier rejected Donald Trump's call to retake the Bagram base, and they had called it interference. Now, there are whispers that US, it is using Pakistan as a proxy. From an objective lens, sir, how seriously should this claim be taken?
Well, I don't take the Afghani claim that the American doesn't have foot on the ground in Afghanistan, by the way. There is a close relation and covert operation carried out by the United States with the acknowledgement of the Taliban. And Bagram, talking of the Bagram base, is nothing but a revival of the American presence in the region. But Taliban cannot openly say this on the air, that the Americans are already in the ground in Afghanistan. However, United States is more closer to Pakistan in the issues because nobody wanted the Taliban to remain in power. Once you bring extremism in this part of the world, the target is China.
Dr. Awad, there were earlier understandings to reduce the tensions between the two nations. Now, the question is, why do ceasefires, especially between Pakistan and Afghanistan, they keep breaking down? What is the reason, according to you?
Well, the reason because the mistrust, because Pakistan feel that they have enough evidence that the Taliban is covering up for the Taliban Tehrik-e-Pakistan and the leaders are inside Afghanistan. That's why Pakistan feel it. But the Taliban deny all this.
Okay. Dr. Awad, the final word from you, sir. Stepping back, who do you think actually gains from this prolonged Pakistan-Afghanistan confrontation, sir?
Oh, there are many stakeholders in this region, I think regionally and globally. The corridors of China, Pakistan is also a target. It's also Afghanistan, Pakistan is also another target. Breaking up of Pakistan is another target. Also, having Taliban in power with only a few countries recognizing them, it is also a target for countries who wanted to spread terrorism in this part of the world.
Dr. Wael Awad, thank you very much for speaking with RT India, sir.
Thank you for having me.